The most important part of this analysis of how life goes for you is this: you are more than most humans understand that you are. You are more than this physical human point of attraction. There's a larger part of you, this soul of you, this source of you. We call it the inner being of you, who was non-physically focused before you focused into this body. And that non-physical part of you is still part of you, a big part of you, the biggest part of you. So there are two parts of you who are attracting. There's this source of you who is only love and appreciation and confidence and knowing and security and balance and well-being. There's that part of you. And then there's the human part of you who could be that. Sometimes you are, or might not be. But if you have chosen in any moment in time to be resistant to the love that is you, you really feel that tug of war. Or when in any point in time you in your human beingness choose to be resistant to your appreciation of yourself or others, you really feel it. In other words, you feel the discord, the discomfort, the lack of harmony, the downright pain of not going with the flow of your eternalness, of who you really are. You just can't be in this physical form and look around and find things to hate without causing problems to yourself. Because as you focus upon what you do not desire, you got to know your inner being is never going to do that. Your inner being is always going to focus upon who you really are and all that you have become through the life experiences that you have lived. So when you choose to take a very narrow point of view, like, I don't like what's happened in this red hot minute, I'm just not going to stand for this, and you stand in protest, in justification, in what it turns out to be is downright arguing for your limitations. But when you choose to do that, which you certainly have the free will to do, in fact it's part of your evolution process, but when you are in the moment of doing that, you can really feel that discord. And the reason that that discord exists within you in the form of negative emotion is because your point of attraction that you have the free will to activate for yourself, and that which your inner being is gathering up the cooperative components on your behalf. If those are in opposition, that's what resistance is. If they are in harmony, that's what allowing is. So there's this, you could call it a lot of things. We call this vibrational you, this vibrational reality, this you that you have become to, we call it your vortex, just because we wanted to have a focal point that you could focus on, and we wanted you to accept it as something that is real in your experience, even though it's hard for you to accept that it is real because you can't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it until it gets evolved enough that it comes into your experience in a way that you can interpret the vibration of it through your physical senses. We want you to accept the reality of it by feeling your way to it. So you could call it a lot of things. We have called this vortex a lot of things. We say, here you are, and here your vortex version of you is. And when you're in alignment, we call that a state of allowing, or the art of allowing. We have called it being in your vortex, or we call it letting what's in your vortex come to you. We call it being a cooperative component. We call it closing the gap. We call it being in the flow. We call it moving downstream. We've called it a lot of things because we want you to accept its summoning of you. We want you to understand that who you are is calling you to the fullness of who you are, because that's where all the good stuff is. When you ask, it is given. Someone should write a book. When you ask, it is given. But the reason that humans don't always know that is because you've asked, but it hasn't manifested where you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it. So you say, well, if it's given, I would like it to show up somewhere where I can see it. And we say, it has been given, it has been revealed, but you got to realize it. You've got to be a vibrational match to what you're asking for. You cannot continue to be a vibrational match to the reason that you're asking for it.